You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. There is no financial investment. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Just recently, the rather lying low Harry's wife has made a couple of appearances. She popped up going out for something to eat and drink with old Ginger Bollocks, and just so happened the paparazzi were there. Quelle surprise. But also, she popped up in a video for Clever Coffee. And there, with a sort of softly reappearance as a consequence of the fact, of course, that she and the Prince of Pink Pancakes have been roundly lampooned in recent weeks as a consequence of the ridiculous disclosures that have come from Wah, and also, of course, the all-conquering South Park episode. And therefore it was necessary for her to try and approach things in a more softly manner. Notice that she's not turning up with anything where the public attend, because the risk of ridicule is too great, and her narcissism anticipates, although this will fade in time, her narcissism anticipates that she's going to have lots of challenges to her need for control as a consequence of people basically shouting, "Are you on the worldwide privacy tour again?" and laughing at her. It therefore, as a self-defense mechanism, seeks to steer her away. And such is the level of challenge that has occurred from the disclosures from Wah and South Park, that it still lingers on, it still burns, if you will, so that the narcissism takes notice of that. Accordingly, in order to try and find a way back in order, of course, to continue to assert control and draw fuel, the PR puff pieces, dragging up the past, have continued, with nothing new for her to talk about, but telling us once again about Easter egg hunts and how in love they are and how she was heart attack beautiful and all that dross. We've had repeated bringing up the past from the supine publications as she continues to pump PR dollars in their direction. But we also had her appearance in the Clever brand video, which of course is being done to show, look, I've invested in this and I'm all about sustainable coffee because I care. And I'm a good person because I'm lending my face to this, and I'm also pumping dollars into it to help this brand get off the ground. In actual fact, it's once again all about her. She isn't putting any money in at all. How do I know this? Quite simply as a consequence of my liaison with an individual who has run a successful PR agency for over a decade. A client of mine who knows all the ins and outs of PR and the chicanery that goes with it, who knows precisely what these advertorials and supposed investments mean. She's able to decode it. And the fact is, she also was involved in a sustainable coffee campaign for a client herself. So not only does she know all about the chicanery that's used in the PR industry, but she's absolutely on the nose when it comes to what you do in order to promote coffee. And she knows, as a consequence of her involvement in this industry, that Harry's wife isn't an actual financial investor in the campaign. What she's done is hijack this brand, naturally for her own purposes, which is hardly a surprise when it comes to the narcissist. But in actual fact, what has happened is that the company reached out to Harry's wife because she's viewed as an influencer. The company operated a very low-budget campaign, where essentially what they would do would be to ship the product to famous people so that the only thing that the company needs to spend is postage. Naturally, there'll be some famous people who look at it and think, not to my taste, throw it in the bin or drink it and don't do anything with it. But the company anticipates that there'll be some individuals that on receipt of a freebie essentially then might utilize it. And of course, the company also anticipates that there'll be individuals out there who will want to align themselves with a brand which is woman-led and sustainable. And of course, Harry's wife, who repeatedly trots out this mantra of being an independent, strong female, although all of her behaviours demonstrate that she's not, and somebody who's interested in sustainable products, it's manna from heaven for her to get behind such a cause. Not because she believes in it, although her narcissism compels her to think that she does, but rather because she benefits wholesale from it. And therefore, her narcissism identifies that it's beneficial to tie her name to women-led sustainable woke crap businesses. And therefore, what she's doing is releasing the video of her drinking this coffee for the purposes of enabling her to assert control, draw fuel, and appear to be helping this brand out. Now, it will because it gains its publicity, but there is a suggestion that she's involved militarily, and my expert tells me that is not the case. What she's doing is essentially taking over somebody else's work, lack of boundary recognition, sense of entitlement, lack of accountability, as an over-eager ambassador of the brand. That's what happens, because it is often difficult to control the influencer, both paid and unpaid ones, with regard to the campaigns. My PR expert has explained to me that that's always the risk, that you involve the influencer, but it can be rather difficult to control them, because whilst they might promote the brand, the problem is that they may well take it over for their own purposes. How is it that no money has been invested? Well, first of all, no sum is mentioned in the publicity texts. My PR expert tells me that ordinarily there would be a song and dance of how much and how the money would be spent, and the quotes praising the sum from both donor and benefactor if there is an actual investment, or no mention of support whatsoever if the investor is empathic. What happens is you don't go to the press announcing the investment at all. Investment is actually a euphemism for interest in this case. Harry's wife only used the link to capitalise on her own connections to Oprah and Kim Kardashian, amongst others. How do we know this? Well, Grazia magazine has run an article about this, whereby it tells us in their article, Kim Kardashian is a fan of Harry's wife's coffee brand. The reality star was gifted goodies from clever brands. Harry's wife's latest business venture is getting another major celebrity endorsement. Over the weekend, Kim Kardashian took to the gram, showing off a gift basket filled with products from clever brands, a vegan coffee brand specialising in instant oat milk latte drinks that the Duchess of Sussex recently invested in. In the grateful snap, the reality TV star thanked Alice and Olivia, the uber-popular contemporary fashion brand designed by Kardashian family friend Stacey Bendert. Among the products the health-conscious media mogul received were Clever Blend's Gold Super Latte and Matcha Super Latte, in addition to a Notcha Matcha package from Flower Head Tea. It then goes on to talk about a bit of information about the company, who's behind it, and then explains that it's a woman-led, mission-driven wellness company, priding itself on pro-ethically sourced ingredients and its commitment to donating a percentage of profits to organisations fighting for food justice. And then it provides a quote that we've already had from Harry's wife. Interestingly, this article does state no word on exactly how much the former actress invested in Clever Blends, whose powdered coffee blends sell for $28 each. My expert, of course, identifies that Grazia is used and explains that what she invested in were PR pieces praising her in connection with this coffee brand. The fact is, Grazia does not publish PR stuff for free. My PR expert has dealt with the publication professionally and directly, and they even charge for fashion editorials. Grazia operates a franchise scheme, and that's how they monetize. So that PR puff piece about involving Kim Kardashian and Harry's wife will have to have been paid for. Clever Brands won't have paid for it. Harry's wife will have done. Another example is what we call a content marketing journalism package. And this is where an ad piece is paid for to receive what looks like journalistic content on top. This has been done in InStyle. And In that publication, which was published back in August 2021, Nina Huang wrote, "I tried the super lattes Harry's wife invested in. Here's my honest review." And then there are some pictures of the product and talking about it in this content marketing journalism package. Again, my expert tells me that what appears in Style is a 100% paid article, content marketing. Basically, my expert tells me that this influencer campaign has absolutely nothing to do with financial investment, and it's way too obvious. What's happening here is Harry's wife makes it look like she's invested. The brand gets plenty of publicity, so they're not going to complain. But once again, there's chicanery involving Harry's wife by suggesting that she's been involved financially when she hasn't, and she actually hijacks the brand for her own purposes with regard to assertion of control, drawing of fuel, and facade management. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.